There's almost always a key differentiator between high achieving runners and those runners who can't manage to accomplish their goals. And that key difference is a willingness to embrace failure. Even such a level of comfort with failure that these runners seek out failure. They embrace failure, and actually they get a kick out of it. So today what I want to talk about is how you too can embrace failure, how you can put more instances of failure into your training program so that you're going to develop mental toughness. You're also going to develop a certain amount of humbleness. You will be more humble as a runner, but that will actually give you more strength. And it's going to give you this level of comfort with doing hard things that is going to come in handy whether you're doing a long run, a workout, or a race. I think too many runners are scared of failure because they think failure has to be epic. They think failure has to be dropping out of a marathon or hitting the wall at mile 16 of a marathon and then being so depleted of fuel that you just feel terrible for the last 10 miles. Failure doesn't have to be that dramatic. And if we're smart, it can really help our running. Now, one of the best ways to embrace failure is to embrace consistency, because if you run and train consistently, you are going to fail. That's just the name of the game. And we can think of failure as any moment when we are putting ourselves in undue, uncomfortable situations, because we're going to learn from those situations. We're going to build mental toughness. We're going to discover our limits. And if we're doing it right and we're actually experiencing a real failure, we're going to be giving ourselves a learning opportunity. So let's talk about some easy ways to build some of these lessons of failure into our training. One of the easiest ways is to always run outside, even if the weather is not very cooperative. Now, of course, you want to be safe. Don't do anything where you're going to risk your health. But if it's very cold outside, you probably can get good gear to manage those temperatures. You can also run in the rain. You can run in the heat, in the humidity. There's so many opportunities for you to get outside when the weather is not cooperative and practice a little bit of suffering. That little bit of suffering is going to take you very far, because after all, your races will usually come rain or shine, no matter what the temperature is. So we've got to get comfortable doing long runs, doing recovery runs, doing all kinds of runs, including workouts in adverse conditions, because sometimes we're gonna get really cold, we're gonna get really hot, and we're gonna have to figure it out. We are going to have to figure out how to manage that kind of stress. The other interesting aspect of running consistently all the time through all kinds of weather conditions is that you also have to run through a lot of your own bodily conditions. You are gonna have to run when you're tired. You're gonna have to run when you haven't had a lot of caffeine. You're gonna have to run when you're in a bad mood and you're a little bit cranky. All of these are learning opportunities, and you get to see how running affects you no matter how you're feeling. So if you're someone who always takes the day off after a long run, try going out there for an easy 4 or 5 kilometer run, maybe an easy 3 miles or so, and you can see how your body responds to that. Is it gonna feel great? Probably not. But again, it's part of that learning process, and it's part of this drive to build mental toughness and put yourself in a lot of uncomfortable situations. This video is sponsored by Inside Tracker, our newest partner for the YouTube channel, and I couldn't be more excited. They are an ethical company. They are a company that I've been using personally for years, and they're one of the most reputable blood testing companies in the country. Inside Tracker tests your blood very simply. They look at over 40 different biomarkers, from stress hormones like cortisol to testosterone levels and vitamin D, also that you know what's going on inside your body. So you can tell if you're undertraining, you're overtraining, you're optimally training, or if you just have any other health issues that might be going on that might be impacting your running. And like I said, I've been using them for years. I've gotten numerous ultimate tests, and I'm about to get my third, and I added on the DNA kit. This is going to be really special for me, just to get a more in-depth look at what's going on inside me so that I know if there are any red flags that I have to address. And that part of the whole
procedure is why I love Inside Tracker, because you know what they do? They don't just give you a report showing you how your markers might be in the zone or outside the zone. They tell you how to improve them. So if you are too low or too high with any of these metrics, they give you science-backed ways to improve upon them through diet, exercise, or lifestyle changes. So I'm super happy about this partnership. And if you go to insidetracker.com/strengthrunning, use code strengthrunning, you're gonna get 25% off any test that they have. This is a great offer, and I'm really excited to partner with this company, so hope you take advantage of it. That's insidetracker.com/strengthrunning, and use code strengthrunning to save 25% off on any test.
One of the most dramatic failures that we can experience as runners are poor races, when we just don't race to our potential, when we don't feel good, when we really just have a terrible race and we don't fully express our fitness level and what we're truly capable of. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be very disheartening when you're trying to race a marathon, because the marathon is an example of putting all your eggs in one basket. And if a marathon doesn't go well, you pretty much have to wait months and months to go for another 26.2 mile race. But I think one of the advantages I had as a high school and college cross country and track athlete is that we raced so frequently. There were some weeks in high school where I would race 3 times a week, or even if we only had one meet every week, I might run 2 races in that one meet. And the great thing about that is that it steals your nerves to the stress of racing. And you get very comfortable having bad races, because probably more than 50% of your races are not going to go exactly the way that you want them to. But maybe 30% are great, 20% are amazing. 20% might be those breakthrough races that you have once or twice a season. And by running races more consistently, you get more comfortable with failure. And the key here is to focus on shorter distance races. If you're racing the track distances, up to 10K, you can race very frequently because you recover from it pretty much in a week or so. You can run a 10K and then run another 10K in 2 weeks. You can run a 5K this weekend and race another 5K the following weekend. And so by doing that, you're giving yourself more opportunities to have a breakthrough, but also more opportunities to fail and learn from those failures. One of the other great things about racing frequently is that you get to experiment with different types of racing strategies. And so if you're someone who always tries to run even splits, you can now try for a negative split, or you can be really aggressive and go out fast, go out too hard. Learn a little bit from slowing down at the end and failing with a positive split race. That can actually be really great, because once in a while, not all the time, but once in a while, you won't slow down at the end. You won't have that positive split, and you'll have a breakthrough. But you're only gonna know if you take that risk and go out hard. And so it's through all of these acts of mini failures that you learn more about yourself as a runner. You get more comfortable with failure. You build mental toughness, and ultimately you build the mental skills to become a much more successful runner. I also want to encourage you to run with other people, especially runners who are better than you. Get exposure to more talented, harder working athletes who might embarrass you a little bit. This seems like self-flagellation, but I promise you, it is a great growth opportunity and a great learning opportunity. You're gonna see how better runners think about running. You're going to witness them run hard workouts. You might try to run with them and not be able to and feel a little bit bad about yourself, but that is going to increase your motivation and drive to get better yourself. I don't think that I would have experienced any of the somewhat success that I had as a runner myself if I wasn't constantly surrounded by so many people who could put my running ability to shame. I loved being a middle of the pack runner when I was in college because there was always so much growth ahead of me, and it was just such an attractive place to be. I loved having people in front of me that I could try to chase down. I wasn't always successful at that, but it was a great opportunity for chasing down runners who are better than me and trying to learn exactly where my limits as an athlete were. You're never gonna know if you train by yourself. You're never gonna know if you're only training with those runners who might be a little bit slower than you. So push yourself, challenge yourself. By running with people who are better than you, it will make you better too. This video was me telling you to throw caution to the wind. I want you to experiment with failing more frequently as a runner. You're going to learn more about yourself, you're going to learn more about your limits and capabilities, and you're going to become a better runner. I think it's also going to build your mental skills, your toolbox of mindset skills that help you deal with the stress of running. So let's get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let's put ourselves in some new situations so that you can experience failure and then learn from it.